Good morning, boys and girls. This week we will be reviewing fractions and time. Today we're going to start with fractions. So we'll begin with our I can statement and then get started. I can partition shapes into 2 and 4 equal shares. Before we begin, let's go over our vocab. Partition means to cut. When you partition something, you cut something. Equal means that each share is the same size and the same shape. So we are going to be partitioning shapes into 2 and 4 equal shares. Let's do a quick review and determine if each shape is partitioned equally or not equal. Let's take a look at the circle. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 shares. Each share is the same size and the same shape. So this circle is partitioned equally. All shares are equal. Now let's look at the square. The square is partitioned into 2 shares. It's partitioned into halves. Each share is the same size and the same shape. So this is equal. Now let's take a look at the rectangle. It is partitioned into thirds. You have 1, 2, 3 shares. Each share is not the same size or the same shape. So does that make it equal or not equal? Very good. This is not equal. The shares are not the same size or the same shape. Now let's take a look at our rectangle. The rectangle is partitioned into halves, 2 shares. Each share is the same size and the same shape. So this is equal. Now I want you to pause the video and determine if the circle and the square are equal or not equal. All right, let's take a look at the circle together. The circle is partitioned into thirds, but each share is not the same size or the same shape, so this is not equal. Now let's take a look at the square. The square is partitioned into fourths. You have 4 shares, and each share is the same size and the same shape, so this is equal. All right, now it is time to practice. Your turn. Draw and partition the shapes into halves or fourths. Before we begin, let's review what halves and fourths mean. When you partition something into halves, you have 2 shares. When you partition something into fourths, you have 4 shares. Draw a circle. Partition it into halves. So first, I'm going to draw a circle and then partition it into 2 shares. There are 2 different ways I can do this. I can cut it straight down the middle, or I can cut it straight across. As long as I have 2 shares and each share is the same size and the same shape. Draw another circle and partition it into fourths. I can draw a line straight down the middle and straight across, which will give me 1, 2, 3, 4 shares, and each share is the same size and the same shape. Or I can do it another way. I can draw an X in the middle. This way also gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 shares, and each share is the same size and the same shape. This circle is partitioned into fourths. All right, now it is your turn. I want you to pause the video and draw a rectangle and partition it into halves, and then draw another rectangle and partition that into fourths. Ready? Pause. All right, let's take a look at our halves. I drew 2 different ways you can partition the rectangle into halves. You can draw a line straight down the middle or straight across, as long as you have 2 shares and each share is the same size and the same shape. Now to partition it into fours, there's also two different ways you can do that. You can draw a line straight down the middle and straight across, or you can draw an X, as long as you have 4 shares and each share is the same size and the same shape. This rectangle is partitioned into halves, and this rectangle is partitioned into fourths. All right, now it is your turn to show us your hard work, so go ahead and get started on your seesaw assignment, and have a great day.